The first quarter GDP numbers have driven a wave of optimism as the country is said to have narrowly escaped the clutches of a technical recession. Although the growth is marginal at 0.4%, it's been viewed as a positive step forward. But it may not be enough to bail out struggling businesses. Tobie, Jordaan, head of business rescue, restructuring and insolvency sector at Cliffe Dekker Hofmeyr, says business rescue can play an important role in saving businesses and preserving jobs. So he joins us now to discuss this even further. Tobie, thank you so much for your time and good afternoon to you. I think, some economists have seen this 0.4% growth as more of South Africa showing a bit of a pulse, even despite some of the power cuts that we're seeing obviously in the country and further impacting on business. But what would you attribute this growth to? What were some of the industries that contributed to the growth?
Sure. Difficult question as for a lawyer that's not an economist, but what we've seen is that the manufacturing industry definitely did a turn up. Agriculture is also something to keep an eye out for this year.
But with that being said, you're still saying that business rescue might be the answer for some of these struggling businesses?
I think we need to take a step back and just understand firstly what business rescue is and what it means and why business rescue is exactly what the South African economy needs at the moment. So business rescue is a process to help financially distressed companies to rehabilitate and to recover from their difficulties. The concept is important to our economy for several reasons. One of the most important of it is, as you mentioned, job preservation, but also a boost of investor confidence. Because business rescue provides a framework and legal tools to address financial distress, which is essential for our South African economy's growth and development.
I mean, with that being said, I think also we talk about business rescue because we're also seeing how companies are barely, coping, how they're struggling. I mean, in your experience, what are some of, the businesses saying, I suppose, to you in terms of seeking even legal advice in terms of how to restructure their businesses or how to perhaps lay off some employees? What has been that impact, that overall impact to business?
Well, I think we need to look at what the state of business rescue is as a practice in South Africa in order to answer that question. Business rescue is often seen as a negative or in a negative light. And that's because of focus being put on unsuccessful rescues opposed to the success stories. So business rescue has definitely gained traction in South Africa with an increasing number of companies opting for this process when facing financial distress. But it's often difficult to determine the success rate because some companies have successfully been rescued and others have faced challenges and ultimately failed to achieve the desired outcomes. So a successful outcome really depends on various factors. It includes the nature of the business, the severity of the financial distress, or even the availability of funding.
When we talk about business rescue, Tobie, can it also preserve jobs?
Of course it can. That's one of the most important playing or attributes and factors of business rescue. And that's often what we don't hear in the success stories. Often the focus is only on the dividend that's paid to creditors and the return that we make on whatever investment we may have lost in the business. But key to a successful rescue is job preservation, is to make sure that a company gets restructured in order for the business to continue and thereby for the employees to retain their jobs to retain the ability to earn a salary.
What would your advice be for businesses right now looking into also restructuring? I mean, this could be at any level, whether it's a small business, whether it's a huge corporation. At this time, should there be some confusion, what would your advice be?
So I think the message really is that given the current ongoing constraints, it's better to be realistic. Timeliest intervention is so important in achieving success. And what I mean by that is that the sooner business rescue or any form of a restructuring or informal turnaround is considered, the better. And that is when you will see the benefits of the process. So the danger, of course, of false optimism is that companies that are financially distressed won't take immediate action. And thereby they run the risk of missing the opportunity to successfully turn around their business.
All right, I appreciate you speaking to us about this. Tobie, Jordaan, Head of Business Rescue and Restructuring and Insolvency Sector at Cliffe Dekker Hofmeyr. Thank you so much for joining us right here on eNCA.